Is there a place where I could see? I'm gonna look at the Creator Clash lineup. I have the Creator Clash lineup. I did watch a bunch of the fights, so I actually will have a bit of a review here. Do you guys want a bit of a review of the Creator Clash fights? I'll give you that if you want it. I got 2 no's, and most people are saying yes in Pog. Okay, all right. I actually didn't watch all of them. Okay, I guess I'll talk about the major ones here. The Creator Clash fights. Let's start off with probably the biggest, hottest mess of the night, and that was Matt Watson versus Dad. Yeah, this was not great. This was not great. I did hear that Matt didn't really plan to go that hard in the fight, but here's the thing. If you were actually going to get in the ring and get in there and do it, and actually do it, how did you not account for Dad's speed? You know? That man dances professionally. That's how that man went viral. He's a dancer. How'd you not know he was going to go in the ring and just be like, brah, ha, ha, ha. He's going to use that speed to his advantage. He just barraged Matt. He overwhelmed that man. He was just socking him and socking him and socking him and socking him. And he had no answer to it whatsoever. I guess it kind of seemed like he wasn't going into it with full force or preparation, but to get punched like that willingly over and over was just a lot. I mean, honestly, if there was any guy in this fight here that I was not looking to fuck with, in terms of the earlier fights, it was probably Dad, because again, that man is fast. That man's got the cardio. That guy got fucking shredded for that shit. He was ready. Now, granted, I think if he was against an opponent that had more nerves of steel and could have actually gotten a hard right hook in there, he would have rethought his plan. But Matt was just letting it all fucking happen, man. He was just fucking, and it was over in 20 seconds. It was brutal. It was brutal how fast it kind of came and went. So there was that. I didn't see the Ryan fight. You guys will have to tell me how the Ryan fight panned out. I didn't see that. I didn't see I Did a Thing, and I didn't see the Muscle Party H3 fight. I didn't see those. I didn't actually see Minx win either, though I am happy that she ended up winning. So, I saw the internet comment etiquette with Eric and the DJ Welch fight. And that one for me was like a very slow bar fight going on. And, it was fine. They kind of went the distance with it. I just think at the end of the day, DJ Welch had those beefy arms. He seemingly had a bit more muscle mass, and it seemed like those punches were kind of hurting after a while. And, it kind of seems like, they were both very taking their time with it, not trying to overdo it or overdo themselves, not trying to rush through the whole thing, trying to be careful about it. And, I just think kind of taking the pace that they did, it's DJ Welch that just kind of ended up outlasting and just kind of performing better at the end of that. I kind of saw Harley's fight as almost the same thing going on, but almost a worse version, because, Aaron came in there all full of piss and vinegar, but it kind of seemed like Harley wasn't allowing him to shake him. He wasn't allowing him to overwhelm him or mess with him too much. So he just kind of outlasted him and just kind of landed some good punches and just stayed very consistent. And, I think probably the height differential allowed for that to be the case as well. When the guy is not really able to get in your face in the way that, it may have been the case for, internet with, Eric and, DJ Welch. I think you'd probably keep a bit of a calmer head in that situation. But yeah, Aaron was just really trying to in a very excited way, just fight his way through that whole situation. And Harley just wasn't letting any of it shake him. And, as a result, I think he was just better on the offense, better on the defense, and he just kind of outlasted the guy. So the Michael Reeves fight was actually very impressive, believe it or not. And again, that was even though it was amateur, that was a good lightweight fight. Michael Reeves went in there with tons of energy, had accurate punches. He was maneuvering really well. And he was just overwhelming his opponent pretty well consistently. Michael Reeves was doing it. Michael Reeves was moving. Like, I was surprised. I mean, I wasn't because it was the most lightweight fight of the night, so there's probably going to be some good movement, you know? But, like, Michael Reeves came in there ready to fucking rumble. Like, Michael Reeves was, like, just going fucking nuts. Not as... not as nuts as Dad, obviously, you know, but enough so to where it was a surprise. You know, Michael Reeves really kind of went in there with a lot of fire in his belly. And, again, just had great movement. Great offense, great defense, landed the nastiest fucking punches of the whole fight, and you know, just did a great job. I mean, that was a win that he like really earned. You know, out of, you know, all the fights that I saw, I would say that was like the most earned win. You know, because it's, you know, it's not like Graham just let him have it either. You know, obviously he overwhelmed Graham. But, you know, Graham didn't just let him beat the shit out of him. You know, it was like a decent fight. It was engaging to watch, and it seemed like both of them took it really seriously, and it went over well. So then, I'm dying here. Then finally, I want to go over the Idubbs and Dr. Mike fight. So, you know, obviously the main event here, and, you know, it was the most engaging fight that I saw of all the fights that I watched. So, you know, it was a very worthwhile, you know, main event. But it was pretty clear from like the jump that Dr. Mike was going to walk away with it. You know, Idubbs, I will give him credit. Like, he did a really good job in terms of like movement and also just withstanding the force that Dr. Mike brought to the table. Idubbs got punched so many fucking times. Jesus Christ. Like, he took so many goddamn punches. And he took so many goddamn hard punches. And, you know, I think Idubbs could have potentially won. He could have potentially beat Dr. Mike. But I think, like, his biggest Achilles heel in the fight was that, like, when he was landing punches, it was kind of clear that they weren't hitting all that hard. And I don't know if, like, I don't know exactly, like, what was lacking in his training to sort of, like, give him the ability to punch harder. But, like, Dr. Mike... my fucking Christ, every single time that man punched, whether it was at long range or even at short range, he was fucking punching. And, you know, if you watch boxing or if you understand anything about it, you can kind of understand why. Dr. Mike did a great job of proper stance, dominant shoulder behind. He was always facing Ian with his, you know, I forget what you want to call it, but this one's the dominant shoulder, you know, because this was his dominant hand, facing him with the other shoulder, whereas like Idubbs a lot of the time was like front facing, and it's like, no, you don't want that. Every punch that you do at this position will be shit. Like, Dr. Mike was good position with this shoulder out, and when he would punch, he understood the physics of putting his legs into it, putting his torso into it, and twisting into almost every punch that he was doing, especially at long range. And it kind of seemed like Ian didn't have that in his DNA in the way that Dr. Mike did. Because again, and I don't know the trick, but like even at short range, every time he'd punch, it looked fucking hard as fuck. And, you know, again, I was looking at Ian like, fuck, he is taking so many punches, but he's taking them like a champ. And I was like, man, if only he could, like, he's taking so many good punches, but only if he could punch, if he could take all those punches, but punch back just as hard, he could have won that shit. Because he was just like, after a while, like it's naturally going to, it started to knock him off of his game, because you can't just get punched forever and just take it over and over and over. But like, you know, for a good chunk of the fight, he was just eating all those fucking punches like it was nothing. But whenever he would punch back again, it just wasn't as hard. It just didn't seem as hard. And again, Dr. Mike just had killer stance. He just had a really killer stance. And, you know, that's what I think like carried, you know, how hard those punches were hitting. So yeah, you know, it was, the matches that I saw were pretty good. The matches that I saw were entertaining. And, you know, the next Creator Clash, I would watch again. I would watch again for sure. You know, it is a really cool thing that Idubbs was able to, you know, pull that all together and do all that. It certainly was, you know, impressive. But me, personally, no, I have no desire to punch somebody as big as me and be punched in the head by somebody as big as me. I'm not. I have ADHD. My brain is already hanging on by a thread. Like I don't know what brain damage would do to me. Because again, my brain is just a mallow in body fluid soup in my skull. If I were as little as, and we're fighting someone as little as Michael Reeves, that could be fun. I'd be down. That would be fun. A lot of speed, a lot of little punches, a lot of he. But like, crispy brain. But going in the ring and being punched by somebody who has like a shoulder like that and is like, has good form, probably maybe better form than me, and is like rocking it from the back into my face. Yeah, no thank you. Even if I managed to cut 30 pounds and I was fighting somebody, who was 230 as opposed to 250, no.